The story opens in an all-girls classroom where students sit together, chatting excitedly. Laughter and whispers fill the room. Amidst this noise, two girls sit quietly at the same desk, facing each other. One of them has piggy ponytails and a sharp expression. She notices the other girl staring at her without saying anything. Feeling annoyed, the girl with piggy ponytails tells her to stop staring. The other girl freezes for a moment, looks nervous, and quickly lifts the small writing notebook. She writes a short apology on it. Her name is Mashiro Oto, a transfer student who joined the school 2 weeks ago. The teacher introduces Mashiro properly. She reveals that Mashiro has lost her voice and can no longer speak. Because of this, the teacher asks everyone to be kind and patient with her. On Mashiro's first day, many girls surrounded her with curiosity. They ask where she transferred from and try to know more about her. She answers by writing everything down. She enjoys the attention and feels happy that people want to talk to her. However, as the day slowly comes to an end, the conversations stop. One by one, the girls drift away. Mashiro sits alone and feels a quiet sadness settle in her chest. Mashiro begins blaming herself. She thinks communication with her is slow and inconvenient because she needs time to write every answer. She believes this is the reason people lose interest. These thoughts grow heavier during lunch. She sits silently with her bento, lost in self-blame. Suddenly, the girl with piggy ponytails, Kokosaki-san, walks over. She places her own bento firmly on Mashiro's desk and angrily signals that they will eat together. Mashiro is shocked, but also relieved. Kokosaki-san becomes a strange comfort to Mashiro. While she writes, Kokosaki-san already seems to understand what she wants to say. Conversations feel smooth and natural. Mashiro feels at ease, as if Kokosaki-san can see straight into her thoughts. What Mashiro does not know is that this feeling is real. Kokosaki can actually read people's minds. She knows Mashiro's thoughts even before they are written. Mashiro feels awkward and writes on her notebook, asking if it is inconvenient to talk like this. Kokosaki-san calmly assures her that it does not bother her at all. From Kokosaki-san's point of view, things are very different. Before talking to Mashiro, she constantly hears Mashiro's negative thoughts. The self-blame and sadness become overwhelming. Kokosaki-san feels uneasy and restless listening to them. She believes that if she starts talking to Mashiro, those thoughts will fade away. As they spend more time together, the negative thoughts disappear. Instead, Kokosaki-san hears Mashiro thinking about how kind and warm she is. Mashiro begins to admire her deeply and feels affection growing. These thoughts make Kokosaki-san blush. Even without the negativity, she feels her mind spinning. Whether from sadness or affection, Mashiro's thoughts now fill her head. Mashiro enters the classroom with quiet resolve. Her steps feel steady and her heart races as if she is preparing for something important. She lifts the small writing notebook she carries and carefully writes a single greeting. She turns it toward the class, offering a polite good morning. Kokosaki-san watches her with a straight face and comments that she does not need to try that hard. Kokosaki-san has already been listening to Mashiro's inner thoughts since the moment she stepped inside. Mashiro keeps repeating the greeting in her mind, worrying about how it sounds and how people will react. The class barely notices her presence. Seeing this, Mashiro decides to try harder. She walks from desk to desk, holding up her notebook to greet everyone properly. Most of the students remain busy chatting among themselves and do not look at her. Her thoughts slowly turn dark again. She believes she is interrupting them and thinks they may not want her attention. She convinces herself that it is better to stay quiet. Kokosaki-san hears every thought clearly, and irritation builds inside her. She wants Mashiro to stop hurting herself with these ideas. Suddenly, Kokosaki raises her voice and loudly says, "Good morning." The classroom falls silent at once. Everyone looks toward her in shock, surprised by the sudden outburst. The noise fades, and the room feels calmer for Kokosaki-san. Mashiro's thoughts finally stop. She looks at Kokosaki-san with wide eyes. Just then, the teacher enters, and everyone returns to their seats. Mashiro feels relieved, knowing she managed to greet the class after all. A gentle happiness spreads through her. Our girl keeps thinking about how Kokosaki-san helped her when she could have simply walked away. The kindness stays with her, leaving her warm and grateful, and she looks forward to greeting everyone again tomorrow. Hearing this, Kokosaki feels her face heat up, grows flustered by how deeply this girl holds on to the moment. At lunch break, both of them walk toward the cafeteria together. Mashiro moves at a slow pace, careful and quiet. Kokosaki tells her to hurry up, warning that all the good dishes will be gone if she takes too long. Mashiro looks determined and thinks that she is coming as fast as she can. As they get closer to the cafeteria, Kokosaki hears Mashiro's thoughts clearly. She hopes for kebab, tacos, rice, and many other tasty options. Kokosaki casually tells her in advance that there are not many good choices in the cafeteria anyway. When they finally reach the counter, Mashiro looks at the available dishes and quickly decides she wants tempura soba. She lifts her writing notebook and starts writing her order. The cafeteria staff grows impatient and speaks harshly, telling her to order already instead of drawing. Mashiro becomes hesitant and freezes, even though she is trying her best to be quick. Kokosaki-san steps in immediately. She speaks up and says she likes tempura soba, adding that she will make Mashiro try it as well. Without waiting, she orders 2 bowls. Mashiro quietly sits down with their trays, still feeling a little shaken. Kokosaki goes to get cold drinks for both of them. As she walks away, frustration builds inside Kokosaki-san. She feels angry at the teachers for not informing the cafeteria staff about Mashiro's condition. She knows Mashiro has been treated this way before, and the thought of it leaves her deeply unsettled. She comes back with a cold drink and notices her plate has 2 tempura. Suddenly, Kokosaki realizes it was Mashiro who put them there too, but she pretends they just appeared from the soup. Kokosaki, able to read her mind, knows the truth and laughs, finding it funny that Mashiro thinks she could get away with it. In the morning, Midori Nakamura enters the classroom with a bright smile, greeting everyone with her usual cheerful energy. As she steps inside and scans the room, she notices Mashiro and Kokosaki talking near their seats. The sight feels strange to her. Seeing those two together looks unusual. Her classmates notice Nakamura staring and tease her about it, mentioning the new student. Nakamura admits she has never met her before. Mashiro transferred in while she was homesick. She cannot understand how Mashiro ended up spending time with Kokosaki, who rarely connects with anyone. The girl agrees, but then tease her for also lacking close friends so she can be close to anyone. Her average looks and average grades become part of the light roast. Nakamura does not feel hurt. She holds on to her belief that speaking with a smile makes friendship possible. She accepts that this belief may only exist in her own thoughts. Still, she decides to move forward instead of staying quiet. Nakamura approaches Mashiro, and their eyes meet. Mashiro's beauty leaves a strong impression on her. Nakamura introduces herself as Midori Nakamura and explains she wants to talk since they never had the chance before. Mashiro responds in kind, and small chit-chat flows naturally. Nakamura notices Mashiro's silky hair and compliments her, feeling a harmless twinge of jealousy. As they talk, Nakamura senses something unusual. Mashiro's expression remains unreadable, causing doubt about whether her approach is welcome. Kokosaki sits nearby, quietly observing, and points out that Mashiro is actually excited someone finally approached her. Her flushed face gave it away. Mashiro responds that Kokosaki should have said it sooner, but Kokosaki offers no further explanation. Nakamura is surprised and watches quietly, hoping that one day she can have a connection that's warm and genuine. At lunchtime, Mashiro invites Kokosaki to eat somewhere different instead of following their usual routine inside the classroom. Kokosaki agrees without much reaction and walks alongside her. Their steps move quietly through the school until they reach a spot that feels unfamiliar. Kokosaki notices the path leads toward the area near the seniors' building. This place rarely comes to mind for juniors, and the choice feels unexpected. Kokosaki cannot understand why Mashiro chose this location for lunch. Mashiro looks around and focuses on the surroundings. She believes the view feels pleasant from here and hopes it creates a calm mood. Kokosaki observes the place more carefully and questions how Mashiro knows about it when she only recently transferred to the school. This location usually remains unknown to most juniors. Mashiro responds by explaining her habit of walking around the school. She presents it as a simple hobby. However, this explanation does not reflect the truth. Kokosaki senses Mashiro's thoughts. Lunch breaks, once lonely and uncomfortable, used to make her wander the halls aimlessly. Now, with someone by her side, they feel lighter and even enjoyable. Kokosaki listens to Mashiro's thoughts, feeling both overwhelmed and irritated. Yet she realizes that if she hadn't talked to Mashiro, she would have only sensed the darker emotions. Seeing the peaceful view, Mashiro wonders if it helped her friend's mood, and Kokosaki understands it was done out of care. Her earlier tension from writing a self-reflection essay fades, replaced by a gentle warmth. She quietly feels affection for Mashiro and accepts her presence with a softened heart. She then casually suggests skipping class, but Mashiro denies it. Kokosaki carries an ability that never rests. She hears the thoughts of people around her and understands that every person holds some level of ill will. These thoughts strike her again and again, like sharp blades. The constant noise leaves no space for peace. Because of this, she chooses distance over friendship. Staying alone feels safer than enduring the weight of unfiltered minds. When a new girl transfers into their class, the atmosphere changes briefly. Class fellows interact with her at the beginning out of curiosity. Over time, that attention fades. They decide it feels troublesome to keep talking to her and slowly pull away. This shift does not go unnoticed. Mashiro senses the distance and begins turning inward. She wonders if she is the problem. She questions her worth and whether she lacks something that makes her likable. Negative thoughts build quietly inside her. What Mashiro does not know is that Kokosaki sits right beside her. Those self-directed thoughts echo clearly in Kokosaki's mind. Each one hits harder than hostile intent ever could. Mashiro doubts herself repeatedly, and that doubt overwhelms Kokosaki's senses. Even so, Mashiro continues searching for ways to improve herself. She tries to become better instead of growing bitter. She never directs blame outward. This confuses Kokosaki deeply. Mashiro understands that others avoid her, yet she never once thinks badly of them. She does not feel hatred or resentment. She accepts the blame even when it would feel easier to accuse others. That quiet strength unsettles Kokosaki. Leaving Mashiro alone with those thoughts feels unbearable. Unable to focus, Kokosaki decides to eat lunch with Mashiro. Surprised and touched, Mashiro immediately senses her kindness. Sitting beside her, she notices how gentle Kokosaki's actions are, her thoughts clear, honest, and without hidden meaning. Kokosaki realizes that Mashiro's mind holds no sharp edges. Even without speaking due to her aphonia, her thoughts speak plainly. She expresses for them to be close. Her thoughts carry sincerity and warmth. That honesty pierces Kokosaki's heart more deeply than cruelty ever could. Each gentle thought stabs her emotions and throws her further into turmoil. Narashio Saku, a university student working part-time at a convenience store, looks forward to her days because of Mashiro, a regular customer. She never speaks, answering questions with exaggerated gestures, which Narashio finds adorable. She wonders if she's made Mashiro upset and sometimes feels guilty, even breaking down behind the counter until a customer interrupts her. Gradually, Narashio starts seeing Mashiro off with a soft smile, finding quiet comfort in the routine. One evening, she warns Mashiro about the rain and mentions a new flavor of her favorite snack. Mashiro's gestures soften, showing she is touched, though she still doesn't speak. Wanting to become closer to her, Narashio gathers courage. She blurts out honestly that she wants to hear Mashiro's voice, saying it would be cute just like her. Mashiro freezes for a moment. Then she slowly takes out her writing notebook and writes a single word: "Sorry." In that instant, Narashio realizes she has made a mistake. It finally becomes clear to her that Mashiro has been quiet all this time because she cannot talk. The realization hits hard, and Narashio feels her chest tighten with regret. This happens on a Friday, which only makes things worse for Narashio. Over the weekend, her thoughts spiral. She keeps wondering if she has said anything hurtful without knowing the truth. The idea that she may have unknowingly hurt Mashiro makes her deeply uncomfortable. By the time Monday arrives, Narashio has already decided what she needs to do. When Mashiro comes in, she apologizes sincerely, her embarrassment obvious. She apologizes to Mashiro, explaining she only wanted to grow closer and may have bothered her. Mashiro stays silent for a moment, then writes in her notebook that she felt happy, as if she had a friend watching over her like an older sister. Surprised and moved, Narashio realizes how Mashiro sees her. For someone who has struggled at her part-time job, this changes everything. She has gained a younger friend to share gentle, cherished moments with, filling her with quiet joy. On their way to school, Kokosaki and Mashiro walk together at their usual quiet pace. A middle-aged woman approaches them, politely asking for directions. Kokosaki explains clearly, while Mashiro adds small gestures to help. The woman thanks them and before leaving asks if they are friends. Kokosaki hesitates and replies honestly that she isn't sure. The woman nods and goes on her way, leaving Mashiro unusually quiet. From that day on, Mashiro begins acting strangely. She studies harder than ever, even when there are no tests or assignments. She also starts giving Kokosaki sweets every day, always with a bright smile. Kokosaki slowly realizes that this sudden change might be because of what she said earlier. Because Kokosaki can hear Mashiro's thoughts, she starts noticing the worries hidden behind her actions. She keeps thinking that she wants to become someone Kokosaki can confidently call a friend. She believes she needs to be useful and impressive, someone Kokosaki can benefit from. That is why she is pushing herself to excel in her grades and showering her with sweets. Kokosaki notices that Mashiro is overcomplicating things, her thoughts shaped by past loneliness and fear of being abandoned. Hearing this makes Kokosaki feel a pang of guilt. She gently tells Mashiro to stop pushing herself or pretending to be better than she is, reassuring her that they can still be friends even without all that effort. Mashiro hesitates, worried she isn't smart enough, but Kokosaki laughs softly and admits that she isn't very respected in class either, so those things don't matter to her. Mashiro asks if Kokosaki would be her friend even with nothing to gain. Kokosaki assures her she would, valuing Mashiro's straightforward, friendly honesty. When Kokosaki jokingly calls her dumb, Mashiro gets upset, but Kokosaki quickly apologizes and reassures her they're still friends. After a short fuming, Mashiro returns to her usual self, and their familiar comfort returns. The teacher announces that students must form groups of 3 to 6 for the class trip, with ungrouped students assigned 1. As the bell rings, Nakamura watches Kokosaki and Mashiro, noting how easily they get along, while realizing she too can make friends easily. A few girls approach Nakamura and invite her to walk home together, suggesting they stop for tapioca on the way. She agrees with a bright smile, even though she does not like sweets. Still, she understands that when someone approaches with a cheerful expression, friendships can form naturally. Despite this realization, her thoughts return to Kokosaki and Mashiro. Their bond feels deeper than a casual friendship, and that is what continues to catch her attention. Based on Nakamura's observations, the first day stood out the most. She noticed Mashiro writing a very short sentence that Kokosaki did not understand at first. However, Kokosaki quickly seemed to grasp the meaning and responded casually, as if it were completely natural. On the second and third days, Nakamura continued watching them. She became increasingly confused by how effortlessly they communicated with each other. Mashiro often wrote only brief sentences, yet Kokosaki always understood exactly what she meant. To Nakamura, this kind of understanding felt almost unbelievable. She also notices that Mashiro always smiles when interacting with others, much like she does herself. Realizing that she has been watching them far too closely, Nakamura decides it would be better to leave them alone and stop overthinking their relationship. Later, the teacher asks if the groups for the trip have been decided. It is then revealed that Kokosaki, Mashiro, and Nakamura have formed a group together. Nakamura is surprised and cannot understand why she was chosen. Kokosaki reveals that Nakamura had been watching them from across the classroom and points it out. Mashiro then asks her directly why she was staring. Hesitantly, Nakamura admits that she was curious how two very different people could get along so well and be friends. Kokosaki honestly explains that it's because Mashiro is straightforward with her, and at the same time, Mashiro silently writes the same thing in agreement. Kokosaki, flustered, quickly tells Mashiro not to sync with her and insists that she herself is not straightforward. The exchange quietly delights Nakamura. She hadn't realized how valuable straightforwardness could be and feels a pang of jealousy, wishing she could do the same. As Nakamura looks at Mashiro's smile, she notices how genuine it is, unlike her own forced expressions. Being with them, Nakamura begins to wonder if one day she, too, will be able to smile genuinely and be as honest and straightforward as they are. Narashio Saku watches Kokosaki standing beside Mashiro and cannot stop thinking about how strange the pairing looks. Kokosaki has a flashy presence and a rough reputation around school, the kind that makes people whisper. Mashiro, on the other hand, seems soft and gentle, someone who could easily be taken advantage of. From a distance, the difference between them feels too wide. Because of that, Narashio's mind fills with worry. She begins to suspect that Kokosaki might be bullying Mashiro. Without thinking too much, Narashio rushes forward, grabs Mashiro's hand, and pulls her away. She hurriedly tells her to run and stay away. The sudden action shocks both of them. Kokosaki quickly understands what is happening and realizes Narashio has misunderstood the situation. Calmly, she follows and explains everything. Mashiro also gestures and writes on her notebook to show that nothing bad is happening. Slowly, Narashio's face turns red with embarrassment. She apologizes for interfering and introduces herself properly as Narashio Saku. Even after apologizing, doubts still linger in her heart. She keeps thinking that maybe Kokosaki wants to make Mashiro her errand girl rather than a real friend. Meanwhile, Kokosaki, who can read Narashio's thoughts, feels exhausted and thinks she is full of suspicions. Still, Narashio cannot fully trust her. She silently promises herself that she will figure out Kokosaki's true intentions, since she considers herself one of Mashiro's protectors. Trying to stay close, Narashio casually chats with them and asks if they are going on the Tokyo trip. She adds that she is free and would like to tag along. Her real goal is to observe them and confirm whether Mashiro is being treated well. Kokosaki immediately senses her motive and tells her that she can go on her own if she wants to. Not giving up, Narashio then asks Kokosaki to go for a short walk together, hoping to separate her from Mashiro. Kokosaki steps back, anticipating Narashio's questions. Narashio turns to Mashiro, asking seriously what Kokosaki does for her and what they usually talk about, her tone protective. Mashiro smiles and shows her notebook, filled with cheerful notes and drawings from their many shared moments. Seeing this, Narashio realizes Mashiro values Kokosaki's patience and kindness, and begins to think Kokosaki might not be as bad as she first imagined, even imagining them enjoying snacks while chatting happily together. After 15 minutes, Kokosaki returns. Mashiro writes that those snacks were her tribute to Kokosaki. Hearing the word tribute makes Narashio angry again, as she assumes Mashiro is being forced to buy things. Kokosaki quickly clarifies that Mashiro just used the wrong word and did not mean it that way. Another misunderstanding forms, leaving Narashio flustered and unsure what to believe. The day before the field trip, Kokosaki asks Mashiro if she will be able to reach the meeting spot on time by herself. Her voice sounds casual, but there is clear concern hidden beneath it. Mashiro quickly nods and writes that she will be fine and that Kokosaki does not need to worry. Kokosaki tries to believe her. She thinks Mashiro can always ask someone for help if she gets lost. However, Mashiro takes out her notebook and shows something she prepared in advance. She has written small questions to ask strangers in case she loses her way. The pages are filled with simple lines like asking where she is, which direction to go, and whether she should turn right or left. Each sentence is carefully written, ready to be shown to anyone nearby. Seeing this makes Kokosaki pause. She suddenly realizes that Mashiro is not as independent as she claims. Instead of feeling reassured, Kokosaki feels even more worried. That night, Kokosaki quietly sends Mashiro a message with the exact address of the train station where they will meet in the morning. When Mashiro reads it, her face lights up with happiness. The small gesture means more to her than Kokosaki expects. The next morning, Mashiro arrives early at the station and immediately spots Kokosaki already waiting. For a moment, she simply stares. She begins wondering if Kokosaki came ahead of time because she was worried about her getting lost. The thought warms her heart. She walks over and sits beside her, stealing small glances. Her mind fills with thoughts about how kind Kokosaki always is. That quiet kindness makes her feel safe and happy. She had been so excited for this trip that she could not sleep at all the night before. The anticipation kept her awake, imagining the day ahead. Now, as the train gently rattles forward, her thoughts slowly grow quiet. Kokosaki notices the sudden silence and turns to look at her. Mashiro has fallen asleep, exhaustion finally catching up with her. Her head leans softly against Kokosaki's shoulder. She stays still and feels strangely happy, letting her rest without moving away. The simple moment feels peaceful and warm. The field trip begins as Narashio arrives energetically, while Nakamura watches her, wondering who she is. Mashiro has been looking forward to the trip from the start, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she walks alongside Kokosaki. The city seems brighter to her, and every little detail captures her attention. Kokosaki notices her cheerful mood and teases her lightly about having slept through half the train ride. Mashiro pouts and quickly writes that she was just tired, making Kokosaki laugh at her reaction. Ahead, Narashio is equally enthusiastic, talking non-stop about all the street food she wants to try, pointing out stalls, and planning what to eat first. Meanwhile, Nakamura watches her with a puzzled expression, unsure who Narashio is or why she joined them. Seeing this, the others introduce her properly, explaining she is Mashiro's friend from university and came along because she had spare time. Nakamura nods in understanding, and as long as the teachers don't notice, everything feels fine. The atmosphere lightens, and the group grows happier. Narashio eagerly asks Mashiro to explore the area together, but Kokosaki gently stops her, pointing out that she is busy taking photos of the scenery. She snaps pictures of every little detail around them, wanting to remember everything. Her excitement is clear. Narashio smiles and suggests she take photos of something else too. She tilts her head, confused, until Narashio gestures for a selfie. Realizing what she means, Mashiro beams, and they take a photo side by side, which she immediately treasures. They keep walking through the streets, stopping at small stalls to buy little souvenirs and try different street foods. The smells of fried snacks and sweets fill the air, and their laughter mixes with the noise of the crowd. As more people gather, the streets become crowded and harder to walk through, but they stay excited and keep going. The group stays close to one another, careful not to get separated. Hands occasionally brush sleeves as they move, making sure everyone is still there. Kokosaki, however, feels uncomfortable. She dislikes crowded places like this. Field trips and noisy tourist spots never suit her. The loud chatter and constant movement make her uneasy and tired. Out of habit, she turns around to check on Mashiro. Her heart suddenly drops. Mashiro is not behind her anymore. A few steps away, she stands frozen in the middle of the crowd. People pass around her from every side. She looks small and unsure, clutching her notebook tightly. Realizing she is lost, nervousness slowly spreads across her face. The The moment they realize she is no longer behind them, the air around the group changes. All three of them begin searching in different directions, calling out her name while scanning the crowd. The cheerful mood from earlier disappears completely. An hour passes, and there is still no sign of her. Narashio grows restless and nervous. Her hands shake as she looks around again and again. She clearly remembers Mashiro walking right in front of them near the gate. It makes no sense how she could vanish so suddenly. Nakamura advises them not to run around blindly and suggests waiting at one place so Mashiro can find them instead. She calmly tells them to wait near the station later. However, Narashio becomes frustrated and confused. To her, staying still feels like they are only making things worse. Kokosaki, on the other hand, is quietly panicking. She knows Mashiro has no sense of direction and gets overwhelmed easily. Without wasting time, she sends her a text telling her not to move an inch and to stay exactly where she is. She promises they will come find her. Meanwhile, she stands alone among strangers. She clutches her phone tightly and feels guilty. She keeps thinking that because of her, no one will be able to enjoy the trip anymore. The noise around her feels louder than usual, and every unfamiliar face makes her more anxious. Still, she stays where she is, just like Kokosaki told her. Kokosaki pushes her way through the crowd, searching desperately. Voices overlap from every direction. Hearing so many sounds at once makes her dizzy, but she refuses to stop. She keeps looking around, hoping to spot Mashiro's small figure somewhere. Back near the meeting area, Narashio and Nakamura wait. They decide to gather at the station, but Nakamura suggests they should reunite with Kokosaki first. Narashio hesitates. For a long time, she had been suspicious of Kokosaki and could not understand why she cared so much. But watching her rush through the crowd without hesitation changes something. Now Narashio finally realizes that Kokosaki is truly worried, not pretending. She is not a bully at all, just a genuine friend. Nakamura nods and agrees. She says it is strange in a different way. Kokosaki has always had a reputation for being quiet and distant, someone who does not talk to others much. That is why seeing her with Mashiro always looked unusual. Yet together they seem completely natural, enjoying themselves like they are today. At the same time, she waits where she was told. After a while, she sends Kokosaki a message saying she might go home because she does not want to trouble anyone anymore. Just as she presses send, a familiar voice speaks from behind her that it is too late to say that now. Mashiro turns around in surprise. Kokosaki is standing there, slightly winded but smiling with relief. For a moment, they stand close together in the middle of the crowd, as if the noisy world around them has disappeared. Mashiro's hands begin to tremble, and she hurriedly pulls out her notebook. Before she can write anything, tears fall onto the page. She bows her head and apologizes again and again, her shoulders shaking as she cries. In her mind, it is all her fault, because she wandered off. She feels she ruined the trip and spoiled the day for everyone. Kokosaki gently stops her. She tells Mashiro there is no need to apologize. In fact, she admits something she has never said before. She always hated trips like this. Being surrounded by too many people made her uncomfortable, and she usually expected these outings to be boring and exhausting. She had thought today would be the same, but spending the day with Mashiro changed that. She actually had fun for once. She is glad she came. Hearing this, Mashiro slowly looks up, surprised. Kokosaki smiles softly and tells her again that nothing was ruined. Then she says they should go back and meet the others together. They message Nakamura to let her know Mashiro is safe. Nakamura quickly informs Narashio, and both of them start heading toward their location. When they meet, Narashio immediately apologizes for asking so many questions earlier about their relationship. She feels embarrassed for doubting them so much. Nakamura quietly adds that it is fine. She admits that she has also been thinking about them a lot lately. Watching Kokosaki and Mashiro made her question herself. She wonders if she has any real friends at all, or if people only keep her around because it is convenient. Even today, she feels like she is just filling a space in the group. Narashio gently shakes her head and tells Nakamura that it is only her own insecurity speaking. From the outside, nothing looks strange at all. To her, they already seem like a proper group of friends who simply enjoy being together. She explains that if Nakamura stops overthinking and opens up a little, she will naturally grow closer to everyone. If doubts remain, she should talk to them honestly instead of keeping everything inside. Narashio then suddenly laughs and lightly teases her, saying she looks calm and wise, but still carries her own silly worries. Nakamura grows flustered and her face turns red with embarrassment. At that moment, Kokosaki and Mashiro finally arrive. Seeing everyone safe brings quiet relief. Tired from the long day, they decide it is time to head home together. Later that evening, after returning home, Mashiro sends Kokosaki a message asking her to share the pictures from yesterday. Along with the text, she sends several photos she took herself. Kokosaki stares at her phone for a long moment. She is not the type of person who takes pictures. Most of the time, she forgets to capture anything at all. As she scrolls through the images, she realizes that everyone else took so many memories, while she has almost nothing saved. During crowded trips like this, she usually gets distracted by the noise and the constant flow of people's thoughts around her. That is precisely why she tends to avoid these kinds of outings. They exhaust her more than anything. Yet yesterday felt different. She leans back on her bed and starts thinking about the day again. One memory stands out clearly. Mashiro asks if they can sit down and eat taiyaki from a small nearby stall, and Kokosaki agrees without thinking much of it. Now, as she recalls it, Kokosaki remembers something else. When she accidentally hears thoughts, she realizes that Mashiro is already full from all the snacks they have eaten earlier. Even so, Mashiro keeps eating, but internally muses that Kokosaki looks tired. She believes that sitting down to eat will give her a chance to rest, and that is the only reason she suggests it. Kokosaki is shocked by the realization. Mashiro is observant in a quiet, gentle way, noticing things Kokosaki never says out loud. Mashiro even wonders if Kokosaki was too excited to sleep the night before, which might explain why she looks tired. Hearing those thoughts, Kokosaki silently denies it, feeling oddly embarrassed. That is not the reason at all, but knowing Mashiro cares enough to think about it makes her chest feel warm. Later, Kokosaki asks if Mashiro even likes trips like this. She replies that she likes them normally. Not too much, not too little, just enough. The answer confuses Kokosaki because Mashiro has seemed unusually excited all day. When Kokosaki wonders about it further, Mashiro simply thinks that she is happy because she gets to spend time with the people she loves. She has been looking forward to being with Kokosaki and everyone else. Remembering those words now makes Kokosaki's face heat up. She feels flustered all over again. Back in her room, she quietly smiles at the pictures on her screen and saves all Mashiro sent. At the same time, Mashiro lies on her own bed, carefully setting one of their photos as her phone's home screen, smiling softly at the memory they share. After class, Kokosaki walks down the hallway and accidentally bumps into her teacher at the corner. The teacher stops her and immediately begins lecturing, scolding her for not working hard enough for the upcoming exams and reminding her that her midterm results were already terrible. Her voice is strict and full of disappointment. At the same time, Kokosaki hears the teacher's thoughts. She thinks Kokosaki does not study at all anymore and has no interest in academics. Kokosaki quietly looks away. Studying has never interested her, so the thoughts do not surprise her. Mashiro is standing nearby, watching. Noticing her, the teacher suddenly changes her approach and warns that if Kokosaki fails the next test, she might be held back in the same class. The words sound serious, but Kokosaki immediately understands the truth. From the teacher's thoughts, she realizes it is only a scare tactic meant to pressure Mashiro into pushing Kokosaki to study. Mashiro does not know this. She takes the warning seriously, her face going pale as she imagines Kokosaki being left behind and separated from her. The idea deeply upsets her. Later, Mashiro becomes determined and writes that Kokosaki can ask her for help anytime. She offers to explain lessons and share notes. Kokosaki gently reassures her, explaining that the teacher was lying and would not actually hold her back. There is no need for Mashiro to push herself so hard. They go to a small coffee shop to relax. While sitting there, a group of girls from Kokosaki's previous school walks in. They recognize her, and Kokosaki recognizes them too. She hears their thoughts as they wonder whether to greet her. After a moment, they decide not to, thinking they were never close. One of them notes that Kokosaki looks difficult to approach because of her serious expression. Hearing this makes Kokosaki feel distant, but she says nothing. Beside her, Mashiro opens her notebook and prepares to study together. Watching her earnest effort, Kokosaki forgets about the others and quietly appreciates her friend's concern. Because Kokosaki can hear thoughts, she has long known that people carry hidden negativity, jealousy behind smiles and judgment behind kind words. Years of hearing these thoughts have made her tired of people, and she slowly stopped trying to get close to anyone. Nearby, the girls continue whispering. Their thoughts drift back to Kokosaki as they glance at Mashiro, wondering if she is really her friend. To them, the two seem like opposites, one sharp and distant, the other soft and gentle. They notice Mashiro using a notepad to communicate and question it, then think harshly that Kokosaki does not seem like someone who would have friends at all. Irritated, she lowers her gaze and pretends not to care. Suddenly, Mashiro brightens and shows her phone. Her wallpaper is a photo of them from yesterday's trip. Kokosaki blinks in surprise, not even remembering when the picture was taken. Mashiro happily gestures that it fits perfectly. After a moment, Kokosaki quietly agrees. Mashiro then admits she did not send the photo to the group chat because Kokosaki made a strange face and she thought she might get angry. Embarrassed, she tells her gal to delete it, but she refuses, hugging her phone protectively. Kokosaki complains about privacy, and they begin bickering like children. The girls nearby stare, surprised. They have never seen Kokosaki act like this. They laugh without thinking, and since Kokosaki is already facing them, they awkwardly greet her. Seeing her argue so naturally with Mashiro, their impression changes. She suddenly seems easier to approach. Kokosaki hears their new thoughts and feels unsettled. Back then, they simply never tried to understand her. Maybe things could have been different. For the first time, she realizes that hearing thoughts alone is not enough. To truly understand someone, she has to get close. Quietly, she decides to try, little by little. Since meeting Mashiro, her world has begun to change. Mashiro then pulls out her notebook and starts seriously explaining study problems. Kokosaki tilts her head and asks if she is really qualified to teach her. Mashiro pouts but continues anyway, determined to help. Kokosaki has been worried about something lately. It is not about exams or schoolwork. Instead, it is about Mashiro. For some reason, she feels like she has been underestimating herself. Because Kokosaki can hear Mashiro's thoughts, she notices something strange. All day long, she keeps thinking about how to prove that she is smarter than Kokosaki gives her credit for. She keeps coming up with small ideas, wondering how to show her notes and the page she prepared at home. Her thoughts repeat the same concern again and again, as if she wants Kokosaki to finally acknowledge her properly. But when Mashiro talks normally, she acts calm and casual. What she says out loud feels completely different from what she thinks. The mismatch confuses Kokosaki. She cannot understand what Mashiro truly wants from her. Still, seeing how determined she is just to show one page makes Kokosaki feel guilty. Her friend is clearly trying very hard. Later, she writes that she feels relieved Kokosaki will not be held back in the same class. Kokosaki gently comforts her and says she already knew the teacher was lying, so everything is fine. She adds that things are going well at school, and that makes her happy too. During exams, she could not even cheat by hearing other people's thoughts, since she never knew which questions they were solving. Thinking about it only annoys her, so she quickly changes the topic. Soon, the teacher walks in and tells everyone to clean the classroom. Desks scrape across the floor as students tidy up. Kokosaki takes the garbage outside to throw it away while the others finish inside. While she is gone, Mashiro shows Nakamura the page she has been thinking about all day, the same one she wanted to show Kokosaki. Outside, Kokosaki sits quietly on a bench. She keeps wondering what Mashiro is trying so hard to tell her. Curiosity builds up inside her. For a second, she even considers peeking into her notebook. Just then, Mashiro comes running out, looking nervous yet determined. She stops in front of Kokosaki and writes that she has something she wants to say. Kokosaki waits quietly, feeling strangely happy, certain it must be important. Mashiro writes that she wants to see Kokosaki during summer break too. That is all. Kokosaki blinks in surprise, having expected something more serious. Then she smiles softly and replies that she has plenty of spare time during summer break anyway. Maybe this year, her summer will be different from the ones before. Waves crash against the shore as the hot summer sun shines overhead. Nakamura and Narashio toss a volleyball back and forth, laughing as sand sticks to their feet while they run around carefree. A short distance away, Kokosaki stands still, quietly watching them. She wonders how she even ended up here. Was it not just a week ago when Narashio asked her if she wanted to go to the beach during summer break? At that time, Kokosaki had shown no interest at all. She had told Narashio to focus on work and not talk about personal plans during work hours. She clearly wanted to avoid the topic, but Narashio kept insisting. She said summer break would not come again and that they should make the most of it. She also mentioned that Mashiro and Nakamura had already wanted to invite her but did not know how to ask. That was why she stepped in. Kokosaki made a disgusted face and complained that Narashio should be in college instead of bothering her. Even after all that resistance, somehow she still ended up at the sea with them. Now Narashio and Nakamura wave at them, calling out loudly and inviting them to join. They splash water and jump into the waves without hesitation. Mashiro stands beside Kokosaki, clutching her notebook tightly. She looks unsure. Kokosaki hears her thoughts. Mashiro worries that she cannot take her notebook into the water. Without it, she will not be able to talk to anyone. She fears she will just stand there awkwardly and be ignored. For that reason, she quietly says she will stay back and just watch. She thinks that is more than enough for her. Hearing this makes Kokosaki sigh softly. She tells Mashiro not to worry so much. She says there is no need for words. She can read her friend like a notebook anyway. Whatever she wants to say is already written clearly on her face, so nothing will be a problem. Before she can protest, Kokosaki grabs her hand and pulls her forward. Soon all of them rush into the water together. The waves splash around them as laughter fills the air, and Kokosaki thinks that making memories like this might not be such a bad thing after all. They are playing in the sea while Mashiro is making a sandcastle. Narashio suggests playing beach volleyball and decides that the losing team will treat everyone to shaved ice. They quickly divide into two teams using paper scraps. Narashio and Mashiro are on one team, and Nakamura and Kokosaki are on the other. Narashio names their team Mashiro, a combination of their names, and declares they will be victorious. They all feel determined to win. Kokosaki takes the game lightly at first, but everyone is surprised at how skilled Mashiro is. She does not miss a single ball and keeps up perfectly with the game. Kokosaki keeps her straight face, which makes Nakamura think that she does not like being on the team. She is unsure if Kokosaki is enjoying being her teammate since they are not very close. Kokosaki hears her thoughts and realizes it is not that she dislikes Nakamura, it is just her habit to keep a neutral face. Nakamura smiles and thinks they should have fun, but Kokosaki tells her she does not need to put on a fake smile if she does not want to. Nakamura remembers Narashio's advice about asking directly if confused. Gathering courage, she tells Kokosaki that she wants to be her friend but feels hesitant and embarrassed about saying it. She also wonders if she was only invited to the team to fill in numbers. Kokosaki reassures her that it is not the case. She explains that Mashiro wanted to become good friends with Nakamura, which is why they asked her to join. It is a pure feeling. Nakamura feels happy and agrees, realizing she feels the same way. The game continues with everyone playing energetically. Mashiro and Narashio do not win even once, and Kokosaki tells them to go and buy shaved ice since they are the losers. Mashiro, however, insists with hand gestures that they lost by just 1 point. Narashio does not fully understand the gestures, but she feels happy playing with Mashiro, realizing how different it is from her high school days when she rarely went to the beach with friends. She continues using hand gestures that Narashio cannot grasp, yet Kokosaki seems to understand everything she is trying to say easily. Narashio thinks it might be Kokosaki's instinct, but the smoothness of their conversation surprises her. It is clear that it works because they are on good terms and have built a strong understanding. Narashio then asks Mashiro about the way they address each other by last names. She suggests that it might be better to be more familiar and call each other by first names. Mashiro writes in the sand with a small stone that her goal for the summer is to call everyone by their first name. Narashio realizes it is just Mashiro's habit to use last names. From now on, the first person she calls by first name is Narashio, and Mashiro should call her first before addressing anyone else, acting like a final boss. When they return with the shaved ice, Narashio pauses behind them, thinking about how she wished for a summer like this during her high school years. Even though she misses those years, she feels it is not too late to start over. She smiles to herself and happily joins them. Together, they laugh and enjoy the moment, sharing a carefree time at the beach and making memories that feel like a fresh beginning for all of them. It has been 1 week since the beach outing, and the days pass quietly. Mashiro sits on her bed with her phone in hand, staring at the screen. A message window with Kokosaki's name stays open, but nothing is typed. Her fingers hover over the keyboard, then pull back again. She keeps wondering if she should ask Kokosaki to meet or just leave it. The thought alone makes her nervous. Asking in the group chat feels too embarrassing, so she decides to send a direct message instead. Even then, she cannot gather the courage. A whole week goes by like this, and nothing happens. Every day she tells herself she will text tomorrow, but tomorrow keeps slipping away. Summer break is almost ending, and that thought makes her chest feel tight. She lies on her desk with her notebook open, overthinking everything. Her sister watches from behind and notices how troubled she looks. Mashiro almost breaks down, still staring at the blank page and her silent phone. Her sister walks over and asks why she is still at home during summer break. She says this time should be spent outside with friends, not hiding in her room. Then she picks up the notebook and flips through it. The pages are mostly empty. She points out that Mashiro is supposed to be writing conversations in it, yet nothing is there. Instead of writing, she only doodles small shapes. Her sister gets annoyed and asks why she worries so much. Mashiro hesitates, then softly asks if it is okay to invite someone to hang out. Her sister immediately understands and asks if she means Kokosaki. Mashiro looks surprised. Her sister explains that she has seen Kokorosaki's name written many times in the notebook. It is obvious. She tells Mashiro to hurry and meet her. Otherwise, the notebook will stay blank all summer. Before she can stop her, her sister grabs the phone and types a message asking Kokosaki to hang out at their place. Mashiro quickly snatches it back. The message is not sent yet, and she feels relieved. Just then, her phone rings. Her heart jumps, thinking she accidentally sent it, but it is not that. A new message appears. It is from Kokosaki, asking if Mashiro wants to come over to her place. Her eyes widen, and a warm smile spreads across her face. Mashiro reaches Kokosaki's house in the afternoon. The sun feels warm, and her hands stay clasped together as she walks beside her. She thanks Kokosaki for inviting her and even picking her up from the station. She shrugs and says it is no big deal. Still, she quietly admits she comes because Mashiro is bad with directions and might get lost again. Hearing that makes Mashiro smile softly, though her heart beats fast. Standing in front of the house makes her nervous. It feels strange visiting a friend's home for the first time. She straightens her clothes and takes a small breath. The door opens and Kokosaki's mom greets them with a bright, warm smile. She recognizes Mashiro right away and introduces herself kindly. She calls Kokosaki by a nickname, Kikuno, which confuses Mashiro. The name sounds cute and unfamiliar. Her mom thanks Mashiro for always taking care of Kokosaki and says she knows her daughter is difficult to get along with and barely talks about herself. Kokosaki quickly tells her mom not to talk too much because it is making Mashiro nervous. They are invited inside, and the house feels cozy and calm. Her mom offers food and tells Mashiro to eat whatever she likes. On the table sit cookies in cute shapes, stars and animals and little hearts. She thinks of her as very doting and gentle. Soon, Kokosaki's mom suggests playing a game and brings out a Monopoly set that is already prepared. Mashiro feels surprised by how cheerful and playful she is. They sit together on the floor and start playing. Laughter fills the room as money and cards pass around. Mashiro and Kokosaki's mom gets especially competitive, and they have a great time teasing each other during the game. Her mom looks happy meeting Mashiro. She says Kokosaki talks about her often. At one point, Mashiro leaves her phone on the table. Her mom notices the wallpaper. It is the photo from their trip together. She quietly stares at it and starts thinking about how Kokosaki has begun talking more and opening up since meeting Mashiro. Kokosaki asks why she is spacing out. Her mom smiles and tells Mashiro that Kokosaki really wants to get along with her, even with her harsh personality and blunt ways. Mashiro gently replies that her friend is kinder than words can explain. Both Kokosaki and her mom look surprised. Kokosaki feels embarrassed hearing such honest praise. Her mom suddenly stands and walks away, lost in thought. Mashiro wonders what happens. The game is still unfinished. It is Kokosaki's turn, so they quietly continue playing together.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.